Today we are holding a momentous event which should start an era of greater resiliency against calamities and disaster. And as I welcome you, let me stress that I'm very pleased to have the governors and the mayors of this video in this workshop. Your attendance here is really important, considering that the safety of respective community lies in your hand. With broad powers, you are made to work on the front line and make sure your constituents are safe in the stroke of a disaster. As we all know, the impact of Typhoon Yolanda, as mentioned earlier, was enormous and unprecedented worldwide, considering its toll on lives and properties. Our local communities and people on the ground prepared for the strong typhoon. Ngunit post-disaster assessment showed that more needs to be done in helping our communities prepare for stronger typhoons and future disasters. Definitely, we are one with President Aquino saying we don't want to be trapped in a vicious cycle of destruction and reconstruction. Disaster after disaster, the Philippines faces an average 20 typhoon a year, along with associated flood and storm surges, as well as earthquakes, among others. Recent events and global reports have shown that there is an increasing trend in the intensity and frequency of disaster. As a disaster laboratory, the Philippine community faces a highness of facing that can cause massive destruction, as Yolanda did. While we cannot stop the occurrence of natural hazard, we can definitely mitigate potential disaster risk sa ating mga communities. Kami sa DOST, sa Department of Science and Technology, believe that pwede natin gamitin ang siyensya to better understand whether climate change, paano ba nabubuo ang bagyo, paano ba nabubuo ang baha, for us to improve our disaster planning and preparation at both at the national and local community levels. Applying science, we can draw up scenario-based strategies and protocol in dealing with calamities, emphasizing early warning, early action to achieve minimum loss that can then lead to quick recovery. Hopefully from this workshop, we're likely to emphasize scenario-based. Masarap ang tanungan, ang sakuna, kumalapay sakuna. Base lang sa mga scenarios that can be predicted even before the sakuna happens. I'm pleased to know that we are not alone in this. The UST, the Department of Interior and Local Government, and Office of Civil Defense of the Department of National Defense have teamed up to ensure local communities can be made safer using science and technology coupled with local knowledge from communities. Introducing IbaNaAngPanahon Science for Safer Communities. From the lessons we have learned during the onslaught of Yolanda, we have come up with a 4-point agenda to guide community disaster preparedness. The first is increase local risk knowledge. The second is Capacitate hazard monitoring. The third is test warning and communication protocol. And the fourth is build response capability in communities. The 4-point agenda to guide community-based disaster preparedness will be the core of our program and solution-seeking workshop during this 2-day event entitled IbaNaAngPanahon Science for Safer Communities. Paliwanag po natin yung tawag natin, IbaNaAngPanahon. This is a 2-pronged slogan. First, it embraces the change in our seasonal climate and weather pattern, as well as the ability of the impact of weather-related natural hazard in the country. As we face a warming planet, there will be more severe and more frequent weather disturbances at ito ay epekto ng climate change. Dito sa Region 10, dumaan si Sendo noong 2011. At ang bukas ng taon ito sa Agaton isang tropical depression. Ang hagubit ng Sendo at Agaton ay nararamdaman ng mga tao, hindi lang sa rehiyon nito, ngunit sa buong Mindanao. Isa lang ang Cagayan de Oro na karamdam ng gubit ng bagyong Sendo kung saan ang ulan ay umabot ng 200 millimeters. At ang dulot ng baha ng Ras umabot ng 11 feet, more than 11 feet. Si Sendo ay isang one in every either 50 or 75 year typhoon. Kaya lang, after Sendo, lumahan si Typhoon Pablo after 1 year. Another one in every 50 to 75 year typhoon. Hindi lang sabihin ito, ang malalakas ang bagyo na ito na dati ay dumadaan lang after 50 to 75 ay dumadaan ng taon-taon. Kaya iba na talaga ang panahon. Itong Enero ang ulan ng kay Agaton ay nagdulot ng pagbaha sa ibang bahagi ng Cagayan de Oro. Again, ano ba epekto ng climate change? We would be expecting higher or stronger typhoon. Kung yung iba ng bagyo ay hindi naman ganun ihihina na konti, we will be expecting mga malakas na pag-ulan, pero marami din araw na mabawasan ang ulan. We would be expecting mga araw na malamig, mas malamig kaysa dati, pero we would be expecting mas maraming araw na mas mainit ang panahon. Kaya nagdudulot ito ng mga pagkakataon may mga pagbaha at may mga pagkakataon na may mga short-term tinatawag nila drought in some areas sa Pilipinas. Kailangan lang natin ito paghandaan. Moving forward, the second part of our national program, IbaNaAngPanahon highlights the availability of new tools such as the latest high-resolution maps and flood modeling solution, among others, to allow our scientists to study hazard and bring better forecast warning down to the communities. Sa pagitan ng mga new tools na ito, we also hope to raise the awareness and understanding of local chief executive, disaster managers, partner civil society organization, and even the local community media on this hazard. At saka mababagong pamamaraan that can be used for community disaster preparedness, hinged on the 4-point agenda to guide community-based disaster preparedness na mentioned earlier. So what are the new offerings dito sa workshop? To increase the understanding of the community on local risk and vulnerability of the areas we are launching today, new tools such as high-resolution hazard maps sa baha, sa storm surge, sa landslides, which are good for understanding inundation, flood, and storm surge down to the municipal and even up to community level in barangay. Inaasahan natin na this new information will spur the right disaster imagination to guide you in your respective community plans. Let me acknowledge Dr. Renato Solido of the USDP Box for bringing to the team attention the concept of disaster imagination. We are formulating the framework of this program. Most of you may ask, what do you mean by disaster imagination and why is it important to be planning for disaster? By using disaster imagination, our local chief executive and disaster manager can think and act 2 steps forward by anticipating using scientific data the potential hazard to wreak havoc in communities. Again, babalik lang natin kayo na sinabi natin, disaster-based strategy planning. By imagining possible event, imagining possible na pagbabaha, imagining possible na makakasira ang tulay, we can plan ahead for that kind of eventuality. Let's take a scenario for public storm signal, warning signal. We hope that through this 2-day event, warning issued by our agency will instantly trigger the disaster imagination of people in a way that the public storm signal number 3 or number 4 will plan early action among the community to adopt action time, such as evacuating ahead of the storm or staying in areas identified as disaster-safe zone. The experience of Typhoon Yolanda is a good source of collective memory among the people. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng signal number 4? And what can it do to a coastal community and even across regions situated sa dadaanan ng bagyo? This type of collective memory could be used to prompt us to not second guess a warning once it has been issued by the national government to local communities. Members of the community, after all, possess better knowledge in terms of documenting the collective memory of the hazard. This brings me to the introduction of the format for the workshop, which will include presentation of the hydrometeorological and geological hazards dito sa Region 10 from our plenary speakers. By giving the overview of disaster risk of this region, it has a role that is will usher visualization or imagination of the disaster's impact. The building of the paradigm of resiliency. This plan has to create actionable disaster planning and closer coordination between communities in the region and even with the National Warning Agency. The regional perspective on hazard will be complemented by provincial workshop that will allow provincial and municipal chief executive to better understand the communities and the risk present therein. Our team of experts will provide you with the latest information in form of multi-hazard maps as you go on to the solution-seeking workshops. Let us participate in the Disaster Imagination Workshop. Allow your team to visualize the catastrophic impact of hazards based on the vulnerabilities of the location and population, so we can seek better solution and lower vulnerability to disaster. We're looking at area-specific solution. I encourage you to take this opportunity to build your contact with our team of regional and national experts. This will be crucial to implement an end-to-end communication protocol which we can establish a feedback loop to ensure the formation early warning will reach the intended audience and prompt action from the community. With this tool, expect PAG-ASA to give dependable climate outlook and forecast for typhoon and storms, and storm surges, flood and growth. PVOX take charge of monitoring earthquake, whether tectonic or volcanic, and war against tsunami and virus. On top of them, we have Project NOAA and DREAM that will continually build up on the present data and present them in a visual manner on a platform made available for everyone use. The 150 plus scientists of Project NOAA and DREAM LiDAR group are working 24/7 to complement the data issued by the National Weather Bureau, DOST PAG-ASA. Their goal is to help extend the forecasting of weather and wind probability from hours to several days, and soon allow us to provide better seasonal forecasts, which will be crucial to protect state commerce and agricultural planning in the Philippines, among others. Ulitin lang namin, hopefully, very, very soon, we'll be able to give seasonal forecast. This includes also rainfall outlook for 6 months or even beyond 6 months. And these are information that can benefit, that our farmers can use. Our Project NOAA was actually conceived after Typhoon Sento. I still remember it was in December and there was a cabinet meeting. Very simple lang po ang ating instruction ng ating Pangulo. Kailangan magkaroon ng at least 6 hours early warning for flood along the 18 major river system, starting with Cagayan de Oro and Iligan. 18. Inatasan kami sa UST to come up with the program. It was a 2 years program. Para to put it in perspective, before Project NOAA and DREAM Project, 4 o 5 lang yata ang ating ilog sa buong Pilipinas sa monitoring, flood monitoring. For the past 10 years, lahat ito ay ginawa po ng foreign consultants. Ang Project NOAA po ay dinevelop po lahat po purely local scientists natin. At ito ay 18 major river system to be completed. Utos ng ating Pangulo in 2 years time. So, Project NOAA was born on July 6, 2012. Today, through the project, over 100 LGU have and we received 3D flood hazard maps. so that local chief executive can identify areas prone to floods and help alert those affected by the disaster. As part of the project of the mapping of the 80 million river system, the country will be completed this year. Actually, the last time I talked with Dr. Paringit, nakompleto na lahat except for the circulation. Ang huli-huli, Cagayan de Oro, Cagayan River. This includes Cagayan de Oro and Capacitate as well the floodplains or river system of Tiponan, Mandulug, Iligan, Pampanga, Davao Oriental, and Marikina. Our field scientists are working on the type of over and survey at the rate of 10,000 hectares a day using the LiDAR technology. By providing this data, we do hope our local chief executive and disaster preparedness can have better information about their communities to prepare for disaster. As I was discussing with Mayor Moreno kanina, ito pong mga line ng map can be used also for other, marami pa pong ibang gamit ito. Isa na po for land use, for development plans, for planning drainage system. Since pwede po yung ating mga scientists can simulate floods, they can also simulate flood control works and drainage systems if it will work. At anong dapat na proper design para it will work for certain kind of events. These are some of the iba pang benefit of all of these tools. Early warning po calls for early action. Early warning calls for possible early action. Each municipality, province, and region has distinct landscape, topo, and vulnerabilities. Through this workshop, we hope to learn from each other on how to spur better teamwork between the national government, the local government units, and the communities, because the best disaster risk reduction strategy calls for us to work together. Pagtutulungan, again, mentioned kayo ng ating manual. To envision to cover the end-to-end process for science-based and scenario-driven community disaster preparedness from early warning to early action to achieve minimum loss and establish quick recovery processes. As local executives and disaster manager, I hope I pose this question, everyone in this hall. Are we ready to commit and do our best to perform this task? Pwede ba tayo? Hopefully we did some commitment. Please repeat. Pakiulit lang po, as I mentioned our battle cry. Iba na ang panahon, science for safer communities. Maraming salamat.